video. So I wanted to do a review of 2025 as it's now January the 3rd. Normally I like to do these videos on New Year's Eve just before I'm going out, but I must have had a few too many drinks and forgotten. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about how 2025 has been for me, where I am in my transition and what sort of challenges I've had to overcome in the year. So to start off with, this has been a victorious year for me in that I've got out of debt for the first time in 15 years, which is a personal thing that I've been dealing with outside of this, which I got to grips with in the last 4 years. So that's a big sort of positive in that regard. But it's also been probably one of the most challenging years since I've started to transition. I take responsibility for it. I guess some of it's of my making. I stayed in a job that I wasn't enjoying for longer than I probably should have done, and suddenly I've changed jobs, but it's taken a while through the course of this year, so it was not a very easy time going through that, and secured a new job sort of the back end of the year. But I think one of the sort of more difficult things that I've noticed about myself is that this year has been, I'm sure everyone's aware that it's been quite a divisive year across lots of different sort of topics, but I think we've been more prominently used as a trans people, that is, for I don't know, as a tool of discussion, and I made the mistake. I used to ignore politics and news, and there's always going to be people that disapprove of you, even within your own family and friends. But I made the mistake of, I suppose it was difficult to avoid it when your friends were talking about it and going to protests and stuff like that. But I got dragged down a little bit, and I lost a little bit of my composure, and I lost. I think it did impact my well-being. I was a little bit short with people, and I made the mistake of getting too involved and allowing myself to get sucked into the drama, when really no one has any power over what I do with my life. It's just an illusion, and I've got to where I am because that's just exactly where I decided to get to, and I've made it a reality. And I think this whole narrative that's been going on this year, that someone can sort of take that away from us, is nonsense. They can't. It's just we don't realise how capable we are when we set our minds to something. Yes, people can make it difficult for us, but then I'm of a mindset that anything in life that's worth doing there's always going to be hurdles and challenges. So it's just about reframing it in our minds and realizing that no one has power over us. But I fell into the trap as well. I went to a trans pride march, and it was a little bit darker than previous years, and I felt a bit uncomfortable, and I felt my mood dropping more. So I kind of, yeah, I stepped away a little bit this year, and it's something that I'm conscious of, because I always pride myself on trying to be quite upbeat and optimistic about life and positive and stuff like that. But what's gone on this year has really sort of been knocking on the door and sort of asking me to look at problems and drag me into them. And I think the main way we defeat this opposition is just carry on being ourselves, and we don't have to explain it, we don't have to argue, we just carry on doing it. And that's exactly what I've been doing. I've got my third job as Natasha now. I don't have any problems. I just carry on, and I think a lot of the problems, people try and planting these issues in our heads so that we take them around with us everywhere we go. And really, I try and sort of segregate what other people think of me from what I think of myself. And yes, it's been challenging at times this year, but I think I've got myself back to an even keel. So this year's that's been the main theme of this year, sort of work, and then also what's been going on in the external world, and myself putting too much focus on it. I avoid the news, and I'll continue to do that. And I think social media, maybe I should probably tone that down for the year ahead. Also, I started Decapeptyl finally. I know in some of my previous videos I've mentioned this, but I finally started it in September. It was something that I hadn't always wanted to try, but then it was kind of presented to me, even though I don't want SRS, which is sexual reassignment surgery, as something that could help me with my feminizing ambitions. So I took it, and as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I had some awful side effects and my well-being plummeted, and it correlated with me, or it happened at the time when I was starting a new job, and so that was really, really challenging. One of the things that helped me get through it, and I will champion this as I have done in previous sort of videos, is I had some progesterone tablets left, and it really did get me out of a hole, because it, it, it's all very well when things go wrong in our lives and we know what the reason why we're feeling down, or but when you feel down and there's no rhyme nor reason, there's no sort of thing that you can sort of say, this is the thing that's causing me to feel this way. It's quite jarring. So taking progesterone kind of leveled me out straight away, and so that got me through the worst of it. And then sort of it's kind of, I think Decapeptyl's probably run out by now, because I was supposed to take my next injection sort of beginning of December, which I haven't done, and so I'd like to think my levels are probably balancing out. So it's been a year of sort of challenge, and I've got out less this year as well, I've noticed, but I think it's because I was so focused on getting my financial goals sorted, getting out of debt for the first time, which is a huge achievement, like I said, that I've kind of like neglected my own well-being. So I think for 2026, having fun seems to be more of a priority, trying new things, but also continuing on that femininity journey. Although Decapeptyl was off the menu for the time being, I might sort of look at maybe increasing my Sandrina gel, returning to sort of get some more hair removal treatments, because I kind of sort of stopped that for a while, so I can resume that. But next year, I think, is about sort of being happy and being positive and having fun and not taking life too seriously, which I think this year I've got sucked in, like I said before. And it's all very well having our beliefs and our ideas about the world and how it should be and who we should be. But if we take this path and we're not able to enjoy the path at which we're walking, then it all becomes pointless. So you've got to be able to have time to enjoy life as well. Yes, fight your battles and stand up to those that want to tell you what to do, or conversely just ignore them, because the only real power comes from yourself. Where I am now, people have tried to talk me out of it and it hasn't worked, because I've been single-minded about it. And when you realize you have that kind of strength and power and that power and choice is available to you, and no one can, when you set your mind on a goal, no man on earth can turn you off it. It becomes liberating, and then the noise outside becomes a bit quieter, because that's all it is there. It's there to distract you and to question your own ability to get what you want for your life. Like I've said before, I think I'm close to, I've already reached the peak of where I wanted to get to, and it's just about anything I can do to improve my life now. I'm happy with where I am. It's improved my financial situation so I can have a bit more independence moving forward. But maybe trying new things, I think, is the key takeaway for 2026. That's the main thing I want to try and do, and start enjoying life again. You know, life's to be lived. I'm well into my 40s now, and maybe I'll only live for another 55 years. Let's make some of those 55 years memorable, and do something that has some meaning, and that's where my mindset is now. Anyway, that's all for now. I've rambled on for over 8 minutes. So summarised, challenging year, achieved good things and looked under some good rocks and everything. But for next year, let's have fun, let's enjoy life, and let's keep on being me, and sort of lifting people up where I can. That's what I want to do. Okay, thanks for now, and all the best for 2026. Bye.